Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 9 of D-Spec. It's been a while since we did the last episode of this series, but we want to keep the series alive, as many of you guys do, I know, enjoy drifting, and although I'm not that big on it myself, I do still know how to build a decent drift car, and I've had good feedback from you guys, so I'll continue to do so. And in this episode I've chosen to do a car which is massively popular, both in a straight line and for drifting. It is of course the Supra, the RZ model specifically, the far more powerful model. So as usual, I'll show you first of all the mechanical setup that we've gone for, and then of course take it out to Tsukuba circuit to show what it can do. So this is one of the rarer occasions in this series where I make a drift tune for a road car. I tend to go for existing D1 GP vehicles because they're easier to work with, they're already designed for that, etc. But obviously the Supra does lend itself towards drifting anyway. So we've gone for sports hard tyres. Obviously there's a lot of room for variation with the tyres, mainly down to personal preference, what you feel the most comfortable with. As far as suspension, we've got the ride height slammed to the floor, springs we've lowered to 7 and 5, dampers to 10 all round, anti-roll on 7, maximum camber on this model, and for the tow we've towed it out completely front and rear to initiate that drift and to help you to hold it. For the gearbox, obviously this is not a high performance tune, so I've designed the gearbox to work specifically in the best way for drifting. So we've got an auto setting of 180, as you can see. First gear we've got nice and short to get you off the line quick, then second, third and onwards are nice and long so that you can just slap it in gear and leave it in that gear for your drift. And we've got the lowest final drive of 2, as you can see. For the diff, we've got the lowest initial torque, lowest acceleration and highest braking. For the power, obviously you don't need an insane amount of power, and the reason why I've left the turbo normal is because with any of the other models that you fit, there is the inherent lag which you just don't want with drifting. But as far as all the rest of it, just give it all the upgrades. And I do also have an oil change. I've fitted NOS. You don't necessarily need NOS because it's still pretty quick, but some people I know like to use NOS to initiate a drift or to maintain a drift or whatever. For the weight, we have the stage 3 weight loss. We have not done the bonnet or window weight reduction though, and we have a 200 kilo ballast, which, different to usual, we've actually put more towards the back of the car. Usually it would be the opposite, try to loosen up the back end and reduce the weight, but with this car it's already very tail happy, so we've actually needed to counteract that a little bit because it's a little bit too tail happy as standard. So that's it for the mechanical setup. Now let's go out to the track to see how it performs. Now, as far as this particular build's drift style, I would recommend using it primarily as a high-speed drifter rather than, say, a technical or gymkhana style drift car. It's much happier on long sweeping corners than it is on hairpins. Now that said, it can obviously deal with hairpins and get you a great drift on them. It just feels much happier on a high-speed flow through from corner to corner kind of drift rather than a start-stop hairpin kind of drift. But of course, just use it for whatever your personal preference dictates. And as with all of my tunes, I would encourage personal variation with this, because really more so with drifting than any other form of tuning, it really is about personal preference. It has to suit your style, and obviously what suits me may not necessarily suit you. So I would encourage you to mess around with the settings to find what feels best for you. But overall, I'm pretty proud of this tune. Like I said, I'm not a huge drifter myself, but I do enjoy it, not so much on Gran Turismo as on other games, but overall it's definitely a fun car and a good drifter. So that's it for this build. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.